Welcome everyone, guys. We are just here now. We are in Darksphere in London. I am Christopher Wingrave. John Partridge is out playing a game actually at the moment because we are trying to fill in for some absentees. But at the moment we have Roberto Fabiani on Colourless Eldrazi and Marco Antilla on Jund on the right-hand side. So I'm just going to be running you through play-by-play, and if you have any questions, any queries where we are, ask me in the chat, and I will be more than happy to reply. So it looks like we've got the hand here. Ooh, I see either a turn 1 Chalice. That looks like, yes, definitely a Chalice of the Void in there. At least there's a Pithing Needle as well. I believe that was the Masterpiece Pithing Needle. So interesting, because Roberto's playing the sort of hyper aggro version of it with the Simian Spirit Guides and numerous of the copies of the Fast Lands, which is the Eldrazi Temple. Not exactly sure what kind of spice Marku will have in his deck, if any at all. But hope you're enjoying yourself. We are in London. We're quite close to central London, really. We're on Waterloo. Very, very easy to get to if you're from the south side of the country. Here we go. So I think this is going to be the turn 1 Chalice of the Void. There we go, and past the turn. Oh, I see. So it's just the Masterpiece Chalice. It wasn't the Pithing Needle. It looked a little bit like a Pithing Needle when it was in his hand. And it's Raging Ravine and go. It looks like he played that off a Blighted Fen. So, and that is a Blinkmoth Nexus and an Eldrazi Mimic to pass the turn. And I see lots of lands in hand for Marku here. So, and cracking the really, really nice Onslaught fetch of Bloodstained Mire to get his basic swamp. Excellent. We might actually have someone here who has played, who is playing Death and Taxes, which we should try and get them on camera as quick as possible. And it's an untap, just playing the Tarmogoyf, who's sadly only a 1/2 at the moment. Is only a baby Goyf. Soon to be growing very, very quickly, though, I imagine. Roberto slams in for 2, takes 2 damage. Fantastic. I think it's probably about time now to get the Smuggler's Copter. So he does. Smuggler's Copter and passes the turn. Mark is just going to have a quick read of that and just double check exactly what it is. So you can crew it and it becomes a 3/3. Easily killable though for the Jund deck. They have a lot of tools to kill it, whether it's a creature or not. So there's another tapped Raging Ravine. I think he probably serves in or fires off the Inquisition to make the Glyph a little bit bigger. So he does. It's countered. So Roberto's not going to fail to forget his trigger of Chalice of the Void, that's for sure. But it is a 2/3, which means that there is no surprising things happening or shenanigans. And it's an untap for Roberto, so a land off the top would be quite nice. But it is a Matery Shaper, so it does make the Eldrazi Mimic a 3/3. And it's another land. Oh, he does have another land. He had a 4th land, so he could have gone Thought-Knot Seer. Interesting. Decided against it, though. Oh, no, that was with the loot, sorry. Yeah, it was the loot, because he crewed it with the Smuggler's Copter. But, no, Marku's actually just down to 11. It's a very, very tough time to have to deal with all of these threats, and knowing that there is a Thought-Knot Seer eventually going to be coming into play relatively soon. Although he is unaware. Marku does not know. He's going to crack one of those lovely, gorgeous Onslaught Bloodstained Mires. Probably going to search up another basic swamp here. I can't imagine it be anything else. You don't want to take too much life. Yeah. Really nice swamps. I have those swamps in my Jund deck. They look delicious. Welcome to the stream, guys. If you are just joining now, it is round number 2 of a Modern. Hopefully we got the the name correct in the chat. I'm just going to check It is. It's our Winter Night Modern. Fantastic. I do apologise about the camera quality right now. We are trying our best to sort it out to make it a little bit more definable. Ooh, so Thoughtseize gets cast, gets countered by Chalice of the Void, possibly. And so if Roberto remembers the trigger. Nope, he's just going to shuffle it and put it to the bottom. There we go. Does mean he can slam in here now for 6 damage in total. It's very possible that that's what you want. What he doesn't know is if he does, he's dead. If he does slam in for 6, and Roberto's quite a healthy life total of 18 as we speak. So he's just going to go in with the Bloodbraid Elf. So that's going to hit him for 3. Roberto goes down to 15. Marku's stuck at 10. But he will have a good, decent blocker for the Matter Reshaper, I imagine, that comes. I think he's just going to fire off this Thought-Knot Seer. Yep. Revealing 4 lands. That's particularly savage. So the trigger on the Eldrazi Mimic, jumps up to being a 4/4. And he swings in with the rest of the team. Loots with the Smuggler's Copter. I imagine he puts the other one in the bin. Which sadly does make it a 4/5, yeah. So it can block. Yep, it's going to block the Mimic. Mimic dies. But because it's not a Thought-Knot Seer, it's just trading its power and toughness for it. Doesn't mean that Marku can draw the card. So untap for Marku, who is now at 7. But being a 4/5 Goyf is pretty good. You might find Roberto wants to trade up with this Bloodbraid Elf if it decides to come in. But then he does die to a Smasher off the top, I believe. If he holds that back, yeah, no, he's got enough power and toughness there to see what he gets off of the. Yeah, so he plays a land. It's unfortunate. He's got so many lands in his hand. I didn't actually see the draw for the turn, so it might not be that good enough. There's a rather nice Chalice of the Void, though, isn't it? I do like the Masterpiece Chalices. Looks rather nice. So he's going to serve in with the Raging Ravine. It's going to be a 4/4. I think Roberto wants to trade off his... Or not trade, he just wants to trade up the... ooh, and gets a Thought-Knot Seer to hand. So the Matter Reshaper dies there, the trigger goes, and he gets a Thought-Knot Seer for free. I think he probably wants to play that now, because there might be something in hand. Or he might have revealed everything he had then, I guess. So there's probably no need to play the Thought-Knot Seer. Just going to play the... Yeah, I like that. 7 with the Thought-Knot Seer. Oh no, he's going to crew the Copter and attack with the Copter. So Mark is down to 4 now, which is that's a very awkward life total for Roberto because it's not in a multiple of 3. So if he decides to play something next turn, he's got a couple of blockers here. He's not straight dead to the flyer in the air. Plays a basic mountain for the turn. Or was that the turn before? No, that was the turn before. Okay, I see. I don't think he can really activate this Raging Ravine just yet. Ooh, Liliana of the Void. Of the Veil, sorry. That's good. So that gets rid of the blocker and might be enough damage to... I guess you can serve in with the... Yeah, so trigger the Matter Reshaper. That goes to hand. It was a Dismember. Roberto could fire that off right now. I think Roberto's in a position now where he probably does want to fire that off in the Goyf and make lethal next turn. But decides against it. Okay. Interesting line. I think I would have fired it off there because you are clearly going to... You're right, Team B official. If he does well enough, we can get Zenny in the stream. Yes, that's right. Just going to say, yeah, there we go. Scoop him up. Jund is down a game, so we'll mark that up now. So Marku is down a game. That's wrong. Roberto's up a game. Dun, dun, dun. We'll be able to get Zenny or David, I'm sure, right? That's not a problem. Mr. Smith. So the sideboarding now. There's quite a few options actually for sideboarding here. So Roberto's probably got a few sweepers because the something like a Ratchet Bomb's quite useful against these Jund decks that run sort of these low to the ground creature removal spells. I can't imagine he keeps in the chalices though, because I don't think it's really. It can be, but I don't think they really keep in too much of their 1-mana removal, or I guess they might get rid of Thoughtseize or something. Sorry, they might get rid of Inquisitions, but they still play Thoughtseizers. I imagine some amount of Ratchet Bombs come in for Roberto. It's possibly not though. And on the Jund side, if he's got any extra bigger removal, any Terminates on the side, or maybe Dread Balls or something, they're always good. Sadly, the Jund decks don't play more than like 1 Terminate, which I think is really bad right now. And then they sort of lean on the Maelstrom Pulsers, which can just get ripped off the hand out of the Thought-Knot Seers. So they're just going to shuffle up now again, present their decks, and hopefully give a fantastic game number 2 here for our round 2 in Modern. We missed our first one because sadly the camera wasn't the best of quality, so we had to sort that out just before the stream. So they present the decks. I wonder exactly what is going to come here. The Roberto's deck does mulligan quite well, from what I've seen. It's very possible that he gets a decent 7 here. Jund side as well, definitely. So the turn 1 Eldrazi make off of the Eldrazi Temple is amazing. Especially if he goes like Thorn Seer on turn 2. I don't think he's got the second Eldrazi Temple though. I'm guessing he doesn't, but it's always a draw. He's just going to get rid of it? Has he got a Lightning Bolt or something? Or is he just fetching? No, he's just going to go for the 1. Okay. Nice stomping ground there. That is the original stomping ground, I believe, from Guild Pact. Here's a Blackleaf Cliffs. What's going to be coming out of the Jund deck? I imagine some kind of removal spell or a turn 2 creature. Really, you probably want to just fire up a Lightning Bolt and Inquisition if he has it. So the Matter Reshaper comes down for Roberto Fabiani. And there's a Terminate on the Mimic, which doesn't get the replacement effect of Matter Reshaper. So, ooh, here we go. Nasty. So the Fulminator Mage comes in, passes the turn. Hopefully there is some lands so that Roberto can continue playing. I imagine there is. They play enough lands in that deck. Or Serum Powders and the rest of it. So just serving him for 3. So Marku is still... There is some sort of merit to just not wanting to... You're right, Spider Space, how you doing, dude? So he plays a Ratchet Bomb here. Slowly going to creep up. That's a great thing about playing Ratchet Bomb in a Eldrazi style deck is all the important creatures are so expensive that you can snag these Tarmogoyfs and Grimflayers. I think if he's playing it, I think I see a copy of... Is that a Kitchen Finks I see in the hand? It is, isn't it? Kitchen Finks and a Maelstrom Pulse. A red card with text. Haven't got a great look at it though, sadly. Got a red card with text. More than just like deal 3 damage. So he's just going to go for the Goyf, and I think it might be a Grim Lavamancer. It's possible that it's Grim Lavamancer, but I don't think they would keep that in against the colourless Eldrazi deck. It just doesn't do enough, in my opinion. But there we go. So he charges up the Ratchet Bomb here. Another land. I believe that's the Blighted Fen. I could be wrong. I think it is Blighted Fen. Activates the Blinkmoth Nexus. Blinky gets in. Excellent. I mean, the Tarmogoyf is quite fat right now, so it's not going to get through with the Matter Reshaper, so... Now over to Marky. Zalfir Void for the Scry. Yes, that's right. Oh, Zalfir Void. Right, I see. Yes. That's the card name. It looks like the promo Blasted Fen. I don't know if you've ever seen that card. Kills the Ratchet Bomb with a Maelstrom Pulse. Seems good. Jumps suddenly up to being a 5/6, so that's quite scary. But it's possible that Roberto might get a land off of this. Instant sorcery, creature, land, artifact. So it is a 4/5. It's a 5/6. Zalfir Void. Okay, I need to get that remembered. So he did play that last time. It looked like a... Oh, there we go. So he reveals a Reality Smasher, which will be able to get played if he has another dual land, but doesn't. Just goes for the Thought-Knot Seer. It's probably not going to be the Liliana that he takes, I imagine. Maybe it is. I guess it will be, because it's important. Yeah. Because that gets the recursion engine going. You can deal with a Bloodbraid Elf to some extent, because it's not going to attack through a TKS. Nice everyone stream though, Spider. So it's going to be revealing Liliana. Oh, that is the best reveal you can do when you're playing Jund. Most of the time. There we go. And the swing in, I definitely would swing in for 8 here, right? There's no other way that you're not. Yeah. Oh, that's rough. That feels so bad. Oh, so good if you're playing on the Jund side. Wow. When you got it, right? Bloodbraid Elf doing some work here on the Jund side. Roberto's down to 12. Does he have a follow-up play? I guess he just does have the Smasher, which will get rid of the Liliana. Is he just going for life? No, he's going against the... Ooh. Nice, Spider. Yeah, I'm thankful for that you're here. If anybody has any questions, or Spider, if you've got any questions as well, just feel free to post. It's coming up to 9 o'clock here now in Darksphere in London. We're just down the road from the Waterloo train station. It's the main train station. It's right next to the London Eye, if you've ever been here, or Westminster Bridge. Very, very close. So it's going to be a 6-7 now. Ooh, nasty. I believe there was a... I don't think there is the Manland, is there? I can't see a Raging Ravine. Oh, maybe it is. It's hiding out. Okay, so he's just going to 7 for 9. Roberto goes to 3. Oh, he should have activated it, yeah. He had lethal then, didn't he? That's odd, but there you go. Yeah, I think this is all over now for Roberto. I don't think there could be anything else. He had lethal there because he had the Raging Ravine. That's a shame. Shame that Marky missed it. Yes, it's colourless because that's how it's spelt correctly, Spider Space. Yeah, so Roberto can't go any further, sadly. Might have been able to activate the Blink Moths, but that's about it, I think. So a few more things going to be sideboarded in, I think, for Roberto. Some things come out on the play and in on the draw. But other than that, not too much changes, I don't think. I didn't quite get a good look of what he put in then. So just reset the life totals. There's 1 apiece now. Jund is up again. Oh, is now up 1 game, and it's 1-1 so far in the colourless Eldrazi against the Jund match. And John might be joining us very, very shortly. We will see. How'd it go, John? Win? Loss? Yeah. So, Ratchet Bomb, it's interesting actually. I think it's relevant, right? Because you don't have too many spells that get rid of their abundance of creatures, and most of their creatures tend to be 2-drops. Planeswalkers tend to be 3-drops as well. Well, they are only 3-drops unless they're running Chandra, which they don't really do anymore because of Bloodbraid Elf. So it's just nice. Yes, they can remove it, and yeah, K-Command does remove it as well. But K-Command doesn't really do much else in the matchup. Although it's important to have it, it's normally floating around in the hand, if any. And I think they've gone down to 1 K-Command right now, and I think it's 2 copies of Decay, or maybe 1 Decay and a couple of Pulses. I mean, yes, they've got everything they need to remove it if they want to, and especially on curve, which is the important thing. However, if it's just there and you've got other threats like Reality Smasher that the Jund deck just can't deal with relatively early on. I know they only run 1 copy of Terminate, which I think is wrong, but it's up to them. Yeah, the discard is good. No, that's true. Are you used to seeing 2+? It's awkward, right? Because the K-Command is really good. Don't get me wrong. It's a fantastic card. And when you're hitting it off of Bloodbraid Elf, it's never exactly what you want, I think, because you nearly always want to see Lilianas or creatures or just straight removal cards. So sometimes it can be a bit awkward there where you don't get the full value from it. So I think that they've slightly gone down to 1 or 2. It's between 1 or 2. It's never more than 2 that I've seen, at least, anyway. But not to say that that is the case for this, but it looks like he's got it in hand. And I see a Reality Smasher there. I see a Simian Spirit Guide. I think there's a Ratchet Bomb in hand and a Copter. I think there's a Smuggler Copter, the old Looter Scooter. Interesting. So he's going to Serum Powder that hand and draw 7. For value-wise, yes, but against this matchup, I don't think the value is what you need necessarily. So another Serum Powder, so he's going to draw another 7. So this is 2 copies of Serum Powder now. Excellent. Has he drawn the 7? He has. That's going to be a better hand. It's got to be, right? I think it's just awkward, Spider Space, with having the 2-mana removal. It's a 3-mana deal 2 damage. It doesn't deal with the creatures, which is the biggest part of the Colourless Eldrazi deck. I think that that's the more important thing than necessarily discarding. So they do run really big creatures, right? Which is the problem with Jund. So this is the Scryland. No, it's just straight mulligan. So the mulligan rule doesn't mean that you shuffle. Yeah, I mean, they probably do want to maybe trim out one. If they have 2 copies, I would say they want to trim out 1. And maybe I'm wrong. You know, it's not unheard of. So this is the Eternal Scourge that will be constantly reoccurring. I don't think he put any in the bin though, sadly, but does very well against the removal spells of Marku's deck. I don't think we've seen any Relic of Progenituses either, or Progenitai from Roberto Fabiani. And they're so good in this matchup of just turning off your Tarmogoyfs. But they might not have been in the main deck. I'm pretty sure they play them in the main deck because they play Eternal Scourge and you need a way to recur it regularly. But yeah, it's possible it's not. Slightly slower draw here for Roberto, though. I do see a Terminate in hand, I believe. Oh, and there's the Lightning Bolt. Not that you really want to Lightning Bolt this creature, though. Yeah, it can be awkward with Chalice, that's true. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Maybe they don't run that in the main deck. So he's going to play a Blood Crypt. Going to shock as well. Okay, so this must be a Fulminator Mage? Liliana, right. Make you sacrifice a creature, sure. Goes to the graveyard. So I think this is now land and that. Does he have a, sacrifice? And not sacrifice, sorry, swing that. A Lily, yeah, good. Dom, boom, boom, boom. Right, so he's going to exile the Simian Spirit Guide, get that extra mana. You're on Martin, how are you doing? Martin 101, or Margin? Martin JN, Marty GN. Hope you're enjoying the stream. We have Kalos Eldrazi against Jund, and the Liliana has just died to the Reality Smasher that got cast off a Simian Spirit Guide and the 4 lands. Scavenger Grounds, yes, that's true. Yeah, I forgot about Scavenger Grounds, yeah. Or Scavenging Ooze at a pinch. Can help it out. Not that they play that, though. He's going to fetch up his basic land, drop to 16, and I think it's going to be BBE, hoping to score another Liliana with a Veil off the top. So, depends if Roberto cuts the deck to the right place. Let's see. Is that going to be a Liliana off the top? Maybe it is. First card, Liliana. I'm going to call it now. Nope. Second card, BBE. Another Swamp. Scavenging Ooze. Sure. I'm not even sure that he wants to do attack with this one yet. I guess he's got a Lightning Bolt. And the discard isn't that unrelevant. So just 7. So Roberto goes down to 17. The untap. Oh, you just started playing Magic? Well, welcome to the stream. This is Modern. This is a slightly older format than Standard. This means that it plays all the cards that are legal in Modern. So Modern is just a format type. Standard takes the newest deck, the newest sets, and you're only allowed to play with the newest sets. Whereas this Modern goes back quite a long way to M8, I believe, and Mirrodin, and that's those editions of those sets, and everything to and from that. That's been a standard legal set, is legal and Modern. So it stretches over, I think, about is it 14,000 cards? Something like that? Something along those lines. So Marku drops down to 11 after being hit by the Reality Smasher. So I see a Liliana, the last hope in hand, a Lightning Bolt, nice full out Lightning Bolt as well, a Dark Confident, a K-Command, and I think that's an Inquisition in hand as well. So, again, very poor removal here on the Jund side because they're not playing an abundance of Terminates. So they can't deal with the Eldrazi Menace. Sadly. But you could possibly want to eat one of these Scourges just to get your Scavenging Ooze up to high enough power and toughness. So you could Lightning Bolt 1, eat 2, it becomes a 4/4, if you really, really wanted to. It's a bit awkward though. I don't think it's particularly worth it for the Scavenging Ooze, and then you're going to be taking a lot of damage from the Reality Smasher as is. It's possibly just swing here with the Blood Braid Elf, trade off with the Eternal Scourge, eats both the Eternal Scourges, and then grow the ooze. Oh, you could eat with 3? I think it's the Colourless Eldrazi at the moment, Spider Space, because there's no reasonable way of getting rid of the Reality Smasher. No valuable way to get rid of the Eldrazi, the Reality Smasher. So this is Liliana of the Last Hope. It's going to probably tick up, I imagine. And does. In general, probably Colourless Eldrazi, I think, because Jund just doesn't run enough good removal against this deck. It runs like 1 Terminate and a couple of... Well, 4 Lilianas, don't get me wrong, Liliana is great. But they play these Eldrazi Scourges, they play the Mimics and all the other cheaper creatures that they can kind of get around that sort of removal. Push does very, very little in this matchup. What is the left guy doing with his hands? Probably shuffling the cards quite a lot. So here we see a Dismember. So Roberto's going to lose 4 life, killing off the Scavenging Ooze. But this changes the spot. I think, yeah, so they generally the Jund decks run 2 Maelstrom Pulses at the moment. 1 copy of Terminate. Maybe you might see some occasionally play 2 Terminates, but those are really the only cards that interact with Roberto. At least at some higher level. Yeah, so Liliana of the Last Hope's going to die. That seems a bit sad. He does have a Bolt in hand, so he could have used it then, but that would have returned the so he's got another Eternal Scourge. Yeah, so and also they can just get run out of resources here. As a Jund player running out of resources, you have access to all of these Scourges. It's just really, really nasty. I think it has to kill it, right? It's not just a target clause on it. Or is it like the Phantasm? Yeah, we don't have the MTG card bot in here, sadly, Spider. I might have to double check that, though. I'm going to check that on my phone. So just bear with me one moment whilst I'm not casting this game. So it's going to be the untap here for Marku. And plays a Tarmogoyf. So Tarmogoyf's actually going to be quite big. It'll be able to get rid of these Scourges. It's exiled on target, is it? Okay. On abilities, though. Let me drag up the Oracle text. It probably is on target, right? Because it's like most Phantasmal Images sort of style effects. So, Eternal Scourge. Spell or ability. Okay, yeah, so maybe you just didn't realise that. It's very possible. Okay, so when Eternal Scourge becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, so you can't do it yourself, exile Eternal Scourge. And you may cast Eternal Scourge from exile, which is good. Really quite good, because that works really well with their Scavenger Grounds. Yes, so it would have been able to get rid of the Eternal Scourge. So I think Roberto could have been at a potential less life total here, or Mark could have been at a higher one, depending on how he played that particular turn. So it might come back to bite him in the bum, but there is a lot of damage potentially coming down here for Marku. If he activates the Raging Ravine, keeps back the Goyf, because the Goyf is now... Oh, everything's exiled, so it's just a 0/0. Yeah, sure, okay. So he needs to get some more functionable things here. But he might want to fire up the Ravine anyway, because there's no way that he's winning this by just blocking with the Goyf or even with the Ravine. So he might fire off the Blood Braid Elf. Excellent. I just want to play with that guy over there. Thank you. I do think that it's favoured for the Colourless Eldrazi player here, because it just plays so much bigger spells. And they can go all the way up to Endbringer, I believe. They play at least 1 copy. I don't know if Roberto's playing it tonight, though. Ooh, Lightning Bolt. Well, that's actually not too bad. Gets another spell in the yard, so the Tarmogoyf can at least function as something. You might want to even shoot it upstairs. You probably don't want to target the Eternal Scourge. Maybe you do, because then it's Roberto's kind of a bit behind on mana now, so... But he's going to go upstairs. So the Tarmogoyf becomes a 1-2, because that's the relevant text. So Martin thinks that Marku will win, the Jund will rule supreme. Yeah. I guess if he has push in hand as well, that becomes important. Because you'd want to remove the blocker next turn. It's getting a bit tight here, though, for the Colourless Eldrazi side and the Jund side. So Roberto's thinking about potential removal spells. I don't think he's got anything relevant for 1 mana, but it's whether you want to take a potential 4 or more damage. So you will do, he's going to fire off the Dismember. Okay, so just going to Dismember the BBE. Does grow the Tarmogoyf, though. Only by 1, so... So Roberto goes down to 6. Oh no, to 4. And takes 2. Yeah, she goes down to 4. Okay. Untapped for Roberto. But you've got the extra Scourges, I guess. But you're not straight dead here. And it is still a relevant 3-3. Really tough spot, actually, either way. Because you've got 6 damage coming through next turn. I think you hold back. I think you just cast the Eternal Scourge from your graveyard. Because you need to have a blocker for the Raging Ravine. But he's going to... Special Contortion. Nice. Right, so Special Contortion, it's quite a relevant magic card for this. It does +3, -3. Oh, there's a Fatal Push. Now he's head to Ravine. Yes, nasty. I think I would have played the... Yeah. Oh, well, there you go. Jund has won it. Jund has won it there. Who would have thought? There we go. No relevant spell. What a shame. And let me just bring it back to... Ooh, hello. The booth camera has disappeared. Let me just change that for you guys. Oh no! Let's see if I can get the booth camera working. Ta-da! Right. Welcome, guys, back to the booth. It's just me at the moment. I am Chris Wingrave. I'm kind of need to be in between both of them. But hopefully you enjoyed that match. Yeah, it was strange, right? So I think Roberto probably should have played just another creature just to make sure, because it kind of seemed like he was holding up a removal spell, right? So keep both your creatures back, play your 2 creatures. You've got numerous amounts of Eternal Scourges. So the Jund player actually won. Marku won that. He won it 2-1. Yeah. So that was pretty tough. Tough for the Colourless Eldrazi player. Unfortunately, Roberto didn't get there. It looked like he was favoured. It really did. But yeah, unfortunately the Jund got through there. But that's how it is. The Raging Ravine kills most people. You know, it really does. Oh, but the Scavenging Grounds activation. Yeah, because you kind of went back on mana then, didn't you? Yeah, it's a bit tough. And the Tarmogoyf, I guess, could have been dealt with the Special Contortion in hand, or even the Dismember that he had in hand as well, and to just keeping the abundance of lands going. But that's how it goes. Hopefully, we'll get another match relatively soon. We have about 8 minutes left on the round. So after that, yeah, I mean, the timing of it does seem a bit weird, right? You would do it either in combat or something like that, or when you've got a space for it, and you have an abundance of blockers as well with the Eternal Scourges. So you can kind of like force something through, or just force him to not attack with the Tarmogoyf. He did obviously deal with the Reality Smasher, which, you know, lost him a lot of card advantage because he got rid of the... what was it? He got rid of one of the cards in his hand. I think it was a Dark Confidant or something. But it's important to be able to remove the Jund's creatures, because eventually the Tarmogoyf will just get bigger than you, and eventually the Scavenging Ooze will just get bigger than you. But it's at that stage of, like, you've got very, very good relevant creatures, and Thought-Knot is obviously amazing, but I don't think we saw many in that game. We didn't see any in that game at all, did we? No, maybe one. Yeah, we saw one. But no, that's how it goes. And Jund will just grind you out, I guess, eventually. I would always think that the Colossus Eldrazi has a better matchup there just because of the abundance of good threats that it plays. And they're like must deal with threats. And it has a very good, strong early curve as well. Chalice of the Void, I guess, is not too good at that matchup. I think we did see some come out against the Jund deck. And the Serum Powders were at some point relevant. He did mulligan twice and still drew 7 cards because of the Serum Powder rule. Which is, we'll see. We'll see if that maybe maybe had some extra cards in there that would have been important in the matchup. Maybe his abundance of removal was in there, and it's always possible. Alright, so Martin's just asked me a question. He says, in what game mode would you use those unstable cards? Ah, the unstable cards. They are particularly for unstable draft. You can use them in, or you could use them in Commander at some point. Whether that's particularly relevant or not, I'm not certain. But I think they've stopped being Commander legal now, right? Yeah, so they used to be, I think, up until just after Christmas at some point. So, yeah, Unstable was really only played with other people playing Unstabled in a draft format. So it is particularly random. That's the point of it. But I need to just disappear off for a moment, and we will be back shortly, probably about sort of 10 minutes or so. So go and get yourself a cup of tea, and we'll be back.
He's got it the wrong way round.
I had it the right way round.
I disappear for but one match from the commentary booth
One
to keep our
match.
players happy, and you can't even you can't even spell my name.
I did. That was saved like that. Thank you very much.
But anyways,
That
well,
was
welcome
saved.
back, John Partridge, Chris Wingrave. We are here with some Wednesday night modern action. I have extracted myself from the playing area,
Yes.
having dispatched 2 hapless opponents in round 1 and 2. I am 0-2-2-0 because he conceded both games and then came here. It was quite good fun playing your Bug Delver list.
Yeah, it's all right, isn't it?
Bug Delver in modern.
It's working.
It's pretty good. But what we are going to do is send it straight down to the feature match
Get
area.
rid of the sideboard, which has
Which button
decided to
did
come
you
back
push?
up. Nothing. I didn't play a thing.
Good lord, he's ruined everything
So someone's playing Liliana the Last Hope in their sideboard.
of their Grixis blue-white control list. Love it.
Right. Let me just try and find that. Who's done something?
But I only just came back. You can't blame me. No. There we go. Now you need to get rid of the camera. There we go. Yeah, there we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, on our right-hand side, we have John Heel on Jeskai control. On the left, we have Sean Go on a blue-white control. Round 3 of modern action here from Dark Sphere in London. Can you let them know to start? Let them know they can start. Trying to get the
There we
attention
go.
of anyone in here to tell them to start is interesting. It's going to be a long old haul as it is.
A sideboard. A sideboard is 15 cards that you can choose from your legal
Here's
editions.
the test for you. What's his land?
That is Miramu. Miramu.
And what does it do?
It means that you can draw. No, that's the one that untaps a legendary, right?
Do you want to have a look?
Miramu. No.
Do you know how to spell it?
No, I do know how to spell it. Pool of knowledge, isn't it? Or something?
No.
Miramu, pool of knowledge.
Probably.
Ooh, hello. There we go.
Camera having some fun adjusting. We see an
Yeah.
island on the side of John to start Serum Vision.
So the sideboard is 15 cards that you can choose that will help you out in matches that you think is... Did someone turn on the lights there?
No.
Okay. Just the glare coming back then. It wasn't glary before. I think it's their white T-shirts.
The power of the white T-shirt.
Yeah, there we go. It readjusted.
Serum Visions for John and another island. The double island start. Maybe
Playing
trying
taken
to,
turns.
trying to confuse his
Yeah,
opponent
definitely.
in what deck he's playing. Maybe we'll see another Serum Visions.
Was I right with the name of that card? I'm not sure.
I have
think it
no
is,
idea.
right?
I haven't
I think
looked.
it's Miramu. Miramu. It's either the draw... It's either each player draws a card, blah, 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 or
No, I don't-
untap.
That's Gaia Reach Sanctum, I think.
Untap
so
target
draw two,
legendary.
discard a card. Maybe I think you're right about the legendary one, because do you know what he's playing in his blue-white deck?
Search
Dragon
to
Lord.
Estranta.
No, Dragon Lord
Right,
Ojutai.
okay.
And what's really good with Dragon Lord Ojutai is when he goes to untap.
Yeah.
It's really good. So we're going to probably see the Scalding Tarn here for John, trying to get access to white mana at some point in our near future. But instead, he's going for the Flooded Strand first. Sacrifice straight away. Maybe he also has another Serum Visions.
Yeah. If he fetches basic card into here, I'd laugh.
Yeah, it's a straight blue-white boy, straight mono blue. No,
Oh,
he's
it's
getting
blue-white.
white, so he's blue-white mirror at the moment, confusing his opponent until he needs to
Hide it as
resolve
much as possible.
a red spell.
Yeah. Because I guess John doesn't know exactly what Sean's playing either.
I think by now you have a good idea what your opponent's playing.
Yeah,
Oh, we're going
I
to see Snapcaster Mage.
Snap Serum.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Does that go through? Ooh. Yeah, so sideboards kind of help you out. If you have a particularly bad matchup, you can, once you finish your game 1, you can change some of the cards and swap them in and out, or you can never have more than 15 cards in your
You can
sideboard.
also not have less than 15
Oh
sideboard.
no, you can.
No.
Yes.
If you read the deck red sheet, it's 0 or 15.
Oh, 0 or 50. Okay, but at a stage you can board in more cards. So you can go up
Yeah,
to 61
but you can't go
cards,
less than
and
60.
you can't go less than 60 in your main deck, and you can't go more than 15 in your sideboard.
So we're going to see the fetch for a planes here. Snapcaster Mage in play, and obviously
Which
blue-white control doesn't have a huge number of effective answers.
Yes.
Obviously, Path to Exile is one.
Which is why Snapcaster Mage becomes so good early on. Even if it's just your 2-drop, you just go, whoop, there you go, deal with that.
Now, what you see here from Sean is one of the reasons to play blue-white control, and he's just about to play it
Spreading
now.
Seas?
No, it's called Field of Ruin.
And Spreading Seas. But then
Field of Ruin.
John is not Field of Ruinable at the moment.
No, but Field of Ruin is probably one of the best lands to have access to in Modern, especially in a mirror match. As we're going to see Snapcaster of his own.
Do you know how much that is now in foil?
What, about?
Foot of Ruins?
I don't know, but I've got a foil one. If anyone wants to take it off me.
£28.
Okay, well I'm definitely going to get rid. I'm definitely getting rid of that one at the GP. Seeing as I have about 6 of them, and one of them's foil.
I told you about that, didn't I?
Yeah.
They're going up and up. They're just going to be crazy.
It's pretty good. Now, obviously, the problem that John has is he doesn't have his own
Or
copies
Red Mana.
of. Well, he has Red Mana in hand, but he doesn't have his own copies of Field of Ruin.
No.
Which means that should Sean ever be able to land a search for Azcanta, and it flips into Azcanta the Sunken Rune, John has very few ways of dealing with it.
That's right.
Maybe we're going to trade off the Snapcaster Mages. Clear the board, keep it clean. Scalding Tarn in for John.
Just to get the basics.
Cryptic Commander draw. Doesn't yet have.
Pass.
And a missed land drop as well.
That's actually important when you're on the play versus draw. So crack the fetch here.
Yeah, I like doing that. I like also getting the Hallowed Fountain. Makes confusing your opponent even further as to what you're playing.
You kind of got a problem here of the Field of Ruin, because it turns that on.
Yeah, but...
Okay, so he's just going to go for it. Yeah, sure.
So now obviously Sean knows
he's got abundance of red. Yeah, that's right.
And obviously the red has some definite applications in game 1. Lightning Bolt is a very good card.
It is.
You can still burn your opponent out, plus you can kill their Jace on
And that's
site.
how they do it. That's how you win this matchup against Blue-White Control.
So it's going to be interesting to see how aggressive John gets with the 4 burn spells that are currently sitting in his hand.
I'm sure he's going to be shooting them off end of turns, when he gets to it. The Field of Ruin now probably coming up against the... Well, it's going to have to be the Steam Vents because there's no other legal
Float
target.
red.
I imagine he gets the basic island. I don't think you
Sean,
function without it, right?
You get the basic mountain here.
You want to hold up Cryptic Command, right?
Sure,
Just in case.
Also,
knows?
if you float red, you probably just bolt now because your opponent's tapped very low.
He's got the bolt in hand, right?
I think he does. I think you should bolt. Make use of the mana. Like the bolt, you've got Lightning
Yeah.
Helix is a go-go to deal with any Jaces that your opponent's fine.
I don't know if he has the bolt though, straight.
I thought he did. Maybe he does. But he
It's
has,
just double
he
Helix,
has
yeah.
Jace in hand.
Yeah.
Seems pretty nice.
But that, I think, is the game-winning card, so you don't want to just sort of
Spreading
shoot
Seas
it out.
your red source. I like... Yeah, this is a good snare target.
It is, yeah. Maybe he's got a second one, though.
Lands past the turn back. Now, if you're John, do you think your opponent is going to have a mana leak? Oh, don't worry about that. Just play that.
Yeah, right? Has he got another land?
I also don't really like tapping out here yet.
No, not yet. I don't think
this is the thing you should be tapping out
Unless
for
he's got
either.
another snare.
This is going to get mana leaked.
Unless
oh, wow.
John has...
Nope, he doesn't.
No? Okay.
So now we're going to see Dragonlord Ojutai enter the battlefield. Now, John does have answers because he has Supreme Verdict in the main set. The Wreckage to draw there for Sean. Dragonlord Ojutai into play. And this is the problem.
This is why I don't like that, yeah.
I don't think you should be tapping out at all until later on in the game.
He's got 3 Helix in hand.
Yeah, and a Lightning Bolt.
Yeah.
And the Search for Azcanta.
Which is why I like your line of just jamming the search at that turn.
Or just not doing anything.
That's
You're
true.
not forced into doing anything yet. Also, he's just going to get untapped.
He's got, Mirame or whatever it's called. I'm pretty sure it's that.
Anticipating.
Nice. He likes it.
It's pretty good. And tapping out into Control Mirror is not a... I would start throwing these burn spells at your opponent's face.
You've got to start clocking.
You're also going to gain a lot of life in this.
That's right.
You also have only 1 red source.
Not for this particular match, Team B.
Going to draw, find Logic Knot. It's a bit late.
I think Zenny is on table 6 at the moment.
I think you need to try and land Search for Azcanta here. Won't resolve anymore. Maybe it will, if your opponent cryptic.
I don't think he's got any... I mean, he's got a singular cryptic. Okay.
Yes, you Logic Knot this one.
Yep.
For 3. You probably just use all... you probably don't use all your mana.
I would tap the white one as well.
No, I wouldn't, because you represent Path to Exile, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, yeah, that's what I mean. This just gets around, like, playing against...
But the main thing John needs to find is his second red source.
Yeah.
And this was maybe him being a little bit not as aggressive as he could have been with his land fetches. We're going to see Gideon the Trials in hand. Field of Ruin. Oh, he's taking Cryptic Command by the looks of it. He takes Cryptic Command. That's a good way, I suppose, that you can bounce it. Oh, you can just Detention Spirit.
Yeah.
That also works. So this is where we may be seeing John punished a little bit for tapping
a little bit for
out.
this, I think. Yeah.
When he didn't really need to. He wasn't falling massively behind. But Dragon Lord Ojutai is now going to do a very good job of taking over the game unless John can find one of his 2 Supreme Verdicts, and he's going to have to find it pretty soon, otherwise this game is going to be over. Top and bottom, so that tells me that might have been either a land or Supreme Verdicts. Pass the turn back to...
He's got some time with these Helixes.
He's got 3 turns.
He's got a chance of climbing back into it slightly. I think, is that a Mana Leak in hand, or is just... he's got 9 points of burn, though.
He's got Gideon of the Trials. And we're going to see 2 life from Sean, down to 14. Get a hit with Ojutai.
Yep. Oh, down to 6. So it's still 2 hits, isn't it? But he has got the Colonnade as well.
And
so he could tap out and just do that next turn.
This is quite an interesting way of looking at this matchup. So the problem you have in the control mirror is if you're missing land drops, you're generally behind. Okay? But also, if you're not missing land drops and you don't have to tap out, because John tapped out, he basically said to Sean, do what you want.
Yep.
Now, in this situation, actually, Dragon Lord Ojutai was probably one of the worst things that could have happened to John. But generally,
land and
if
Ojutai,
or your opponent just untaps, makes Jace the Mind Sculptor. Counter, you go make Jace. It's like counter yours.
I think that's where you never go
mine.
First, right?
Yeah,
you don't sort of initiate first. You just throw off your Helixes and your bolts and force an action eventually, because Snapcasters and Helix is actually pretty good.
And if you don't play a lot of, he's going to attempt
to force it.
No, that's not. You do get to respond.
Yeah.
You have to. Yeah.
I'd say Cryptic Bounce.
You probably concede at this point.
No, you can Cryptic Bounce it.
Cryptic Bounce draw. You can't counter it on the way back down. Yeah.
Okay, it's just going to let it resolve. Wow. Okay.
That's why you do it in his end step.
You can always tap it down pre-combat as well.
Yeah, there's a Field of Ruin.
Okay. I guess you got a bit of time, right, still?
Yep.
Hold on to it. As you can see there, Sean's got a Logic Knot in hand. I see big boy Gideon.
Gideon Jura in that pile of 3. Yeah, I think if you're going to learn anything from watching Control Mirrors is if you don't have to tap out,
never go first.
Don't tap out. If you're not being forced to, even if you're missing land drops, if your opponent is as well, you're not incentivized to tap out.
That's right.
Whereas by John doing that, he may have not necessarily lost in the game, but it definitely was conducive to him being very far behind.
For sure, yeah. I mean, there's so many tools now in Sean's hand that he's just so far ahead in this game. Which I do think they win it overall, right? The blue-white control versus Jeskai.
I think pre-board Jeskai's fairly
normally,
fine.
Right? Yeah.
No, I mean, to be fair, game 1 I'd rather be on the side of Jeskai because you have
you got the burn plan. Yeah.
You have like 24 points of burn in your deck, not including Snapcaster Mage.
Yes. Yeah.
But your opponent's at 3. Your opponent's at 8. So if you draw another burn spell, you can't.
He's got a Helix in hand, right? As well.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah. Okay.
I also would have held the path because you can kill the Colonnade.
He's discarding the Gideon Jura. Yeah. Okay.
Draw. Finds Colonnade of his own.
That's actually important, but it does get Field of Ruined.
Yep. But then you get to fetch your basic mountain.
Yep.
And Ojutai is obviously mainly a 5/4. And I think if your opponent goes to Field of Ruin, you're incentivized to Lightning Helix them.
Mm-hmm. The 6 is not going to be enough from the 5 from Ojutai and the Colonnade.
But
you've got the tap clause with your
you've got
Cryptic Command.
in hand still.
Yeah. And he hasn't got quite enough to protect Ojutai and counter.
Snapcaster Mage, the draw there.
That's relevant.
Before you go to combat, I don't like this line.
I think this is important to have.
I wouldn't have done it this way though. I'd have let him attack because you're not dead.
You are, because if he counters the Helix.
Yeah, but you have Cryptic still in hand. Like, it's pretty rough either way. I think I go back to the line at the beginning of the game where I don't tap out, but
yeah, sure. But
it's one of those things.
So this is going to be 4 mana for
Cryptic Command.
Cryptic Command.
No, Logic not. Oh no, he's Cryptic Command. Yeah, so
Counter.
This is getting Helix,
Helix,
and
yep.
this should get Logic knotted, and this should be game 1 done.
So this is, I mean, he's got, yeah, an abundance. You just go scoop that.
Right,
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
There we go.
Game number 1 done. John Heel goes down to Sean Go. Sean up 1 game to 0. Onto the sideboards here.
Lots of choices. I think I don't like, from Sean's side, I don't particularly like the detention spheres. And obviously verdicts come out for everyone. I don't think there's really any, because you just want to counter the Ojita. You don't want to just rely on, well, maybe you keep West Supreme Verdict in, just one.
I think I'm slightly different because I like making the Haymaker strategy, which is you just make your massive threats.
But not on turn 5.
No, but you want something, like, this is why things like Gideon the Trial. This is still things like
Elspeth on the Champion,
yeah,
I think for both of them. That's
so
such an
you've got to look at it this way. Your 3-drop, if you're on the play, your 3-drop sort of powerful cards are good. Because you can either make them tap out, or they don't counter it and you have a Gideon in play, or a Monastery Mentor.
Right.
Or they counter it, you untap, they untap, play the 3rd land, and you haven't lost anything. You've also got counterspell out of their hand. Also, if you're on the play, you minimise them to Mana Leak, which I think is a bad card in this matchup.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I don't like that
if they
at
don't have it, they have to have a fetch land to make the.
There's some degree of like you want Ramans or something.
I also think Raman's pretty rough in this.
Did you put the sideboard in?
Back to front.
Oh, okay. Ew. Is it there? Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, back to front. That's how I normally do things.
And it's not unsideboarded. No. You took those out against the.
Sorry? I took them out a lot.
I'd probably keep in Spreading Seas though. I quite like Spreading Seas in this matchup for blue-white control. Okay, I can't see what came. Okay, that'd be why. Hopefully they'll reset their live totals as well. Otherwise I go over and slap them. Oh, we're going to have the pile counting from Sean. Hope you guys are enjoying the stream. Feel free to ask us any questions in the chat. We've had a few people asking some questions. Can we just get a test? If you are there, give a shout out. Just type in something just to make sure that we can see the chat, and hopefully it is working. Hopefully it is. I don't want it to just randomly stop. That's not the best thing. I believe it's working. It's working, great. Okay, I can see you. Good to know. So come post-board, what do you reckons? It's kind of tough, isn't it, really? With
I don't mind being on the Jeskai side. I would just build the mana base to include Field of Ruin. Because Search for Cancer is a pain in the backside.
That's right. There's no suitable way unless you're running Wear Tear on John's side, but that's so loose against this deck.
Yeah. I'm also not a massive fan of Logic Knot post-board.
Yeah, it's only got very limited uses, isn't it? It's only going to snag a Snapcaster Mage or something at most.
It's the same thing with like Mana Leak.
Yeah. Do you know if so if you have Field of Ruin in your deck, you're kind of going up on lands, but aren't you? So as you go sort of heavier into like 26 categories with the control decks.
Yeah, you can definitely afford to play it.
Yeah.
So the reason I like Field of Ruin in the control list is if you ever play the mirror and they do make Azcanta and they ever flip it,
Yeah, sure.
you have
sure.
an answer to you have an answer to it that you don't have
Yeah.
normally because sort of mana
That's
denial and stuff like that is very rare.
And you don't go down on mana then either, do you? Well, I mean, you go down on mana for that particular second, but other than that, it's so important and relevant. Yeah.
Just dealing with Azcanta the Sunken Ruin. It also gives you another answer to Celestial Colonnade.
Yes.
Or
yes.
the untap your Legends land.
Like
which is a point as well.
Yeah.
If
it is.
John can deal with that land, Ojutai becomes a lot less of a problem. That Path to Exile sticks.
Yeah. Even a Ghost Quarter in that matchup, and it would have been completely different, right? Because it just means that you can't.
Ruin more.
Oh yeah, sure. But I mean, just saying, like even a Ghost Quarter in that particular stage would have been the change of potential win.
I think Field of Ruin has become the go-to colorless land destruction card because it very much doesn't drop you on mana to your opponent. You stay at the same mana, whereas Ghost Quarter has always had the issue of you go down a land, your opponent goes up stays on the same land, so net gains a land.
Yeah. And that's kind of where it is, I think, with Field of Ruin. When you're playing sort of the Death and Taxes style decks, you have that search hate, so Ghost Quarter is really good.
Yeah, I'm glad John didn't tap out there, because he was very much looking at Jace going to tap out, and you cannot tap out.
This is where you just play the game, passing the turns, and...
I don't know if he has a land. If he has a land, I don't mind making men. Okay, Snapcaster. Sure, this is a fine line.
Yeah.
No, this is main phase, because he's going to Serum Visions.
Right, okay. You're going to hope that you have... I
dislike this play.
Unless you just go slamming Jace, but...
I don't know. I think John doesn't have a fifth land drop, which is why I imagine he's making this play.
Because you know if he goes to the Serum Visions now, in this particular stage, it's going to get Logic Knotted, maybe. I can see it getting Logic Knotted anyway. And then you're kind of stuck, because you know Sean then knows that, Cast Serum Visions.
Yeah, I don't...
Okay, resolved.
I think if you let the Snapcaster resolve, you don't counter this.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be running Ramans or anything like that, so... Is there any big playoff card, though, for Sean? I guess if it's like a Gideon or something, that could be good, if he has a land drop.
Just
going to path it? Oh, wow, okay.
Okay, sure. So he actually gets the land anyway.
That's good for John. Guess you go and find the basic planes? I know it goes for the mountain. Okay, sure. Go up in the red mana. It is important in this match.
Not so much after post board. Like, you don't have any double reds you care about that much.
I don't think you have any double red that you really care about in the first stage, right?
Yeah.
Except for like Bolt Snap Bolt, sure. But it's still nice to have it, isn't it? So
that's a payoff card, I guess. I hope John brought in his Wear Tears. I think this is the turn you slam Mentor and see what your opponent has.
I'm assuming that's Search for Azcanta. So
it is Search for Azcanta. So yeah, you make Mentor here, see what your opponent has. Your opponent tapped down to 2 lands.
Yeah.
He has a Path to Exile at hand, so I think you're going to get 1 Monk token. But you traded Path to Exile for a 1/1, which is fine.
Yeah. It's just going to pass. Okay.
So
that definitely is. Yeah, it has to be a counter spell.
But if your guy just gets Path now,
but it's fine.
Really bad.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Guess I get a land.
I think you fire off a counter spell and you prowess and trigger. No?
I don't think. If you didn't use the Serum Visions you've got in hand, I just don't think you bother doing it now.
It's tough. I think I would have counter spell here. Just to... Remand. Remand is fine, yeah.
Remand, I guess, is fine.
Okay, negate. Well, that's fine. You still make a deed.
I think if you're in Sean, you don't negate the Remand. You just let the Remand... Like, yes, your opponent draws a card. But
You're now going up on lands here for Jeskai control, which is fine, right? Yeah, you get rid of one of their threats, but it was never really going to be one of those things that you relied on anyway, right? So.
yep.
And I'm assuming Sean has probably boarded out all of his verdicts.
You'd hope so. It's actually interesting that also Sean
Maybe
hasn't
one Supreme.
Sean hasn't punished John yet, and I would very much be putting Jace the Mind Sculptor into play this turn.
I don't mind having a look here with a...
Your opponent has 2 mana available.
Yeah.
Which means that your Logic Knot is live.
It's a leak or something, yeah.
I would have definitely Windmill Slammed Jace the Mind Sculptor just then. Your opponent has 2 lands up. And also, if you didn't draw a land, you just let your opponent...
Logic Knot, but your double red here is really frustrating.
No, it should have been Slam Jace the Mind Sculptor that turn. Attack for 2, though, with the Monk.
Yeah.
I think that is... You probably won't get a better opportunity in this matchup to cast Jace the Mind Sculptor than that.
I can imagine so, right? Yeah, there's...
Your opponent tapped out, they have a Search for its counter in play, you can Jace the Mind Sculptor and start getting ahead again.
I guess it's really bad that you couldn't do it and keep up a counter spell because of the amount of blue.
You've got 6 mana.
Yeah, but you haven't got 4 blue.
Yeah, sure, you're right. I appreciate that, I can see that line, but still it's...
I would agree with you, but you just don't have 4 blue.
Yeah.
For the, see, like now is just how it is.
And this is why things like Negate are better than Logic Knots.
At this stage and against in this matchup, yeah, for sure. You'd happily have Negate over everything.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
If you could run to like 14 Negates against the control decks, then that's probably where you're going to be ending up winning. So,
like, I think you are looking to find Wear Tear.
Would you put it in? I guess so, right?
You saw Detention Spheres in game 1.
So here comes Jace, so that's going to get
this
negated.
Negate's pretty good. You can Logic Knot for enough.
3, 4.
You only have to do it for 3 out your graveyard. Obviously, it's going to get Logic Knot.
It's going to get Logic Knotted back, yeah, for 1.
Yeah, he can also just tap, yeah.
Yeah, like that. 1. Yep. Is there any payoff card, though, for Sean?
Well, that's the question. He's going to attack for 3 this
Pretty
turn.
good, yeah. So
So
still relevant.
Yeah, Monk Token doing some work.
I think you fetch here. I think there's actually a Jason hand as well for Sean, so...
Yeah,
could
but
be
this is the
pretty
thing,
wrapped
like,
up.
John has Lightning Bolt available still, so I wouldn't be cracking the fetch land with Jace in hand.
Yes. If it is a Jace. I think I saw correctly.
We'll soon find out, though.
Yeah, he's kind of keeping them off the camera at the moment, sadly.
And this is where we may see the benefit of, like, blue-white is versus Jeskai having a slight advantage, because you can keep 4 Lightning Bolts in your deck and not feel sad about it.
Yeah.
Because it should just one-shot the Jace if he does cast it.
Yeah, they become super relevant, I think. Because they're still part of your finishing package, aren't they?
Your
As a
opponent drew
Jeskai.
Path to Exile.
Okay, well,
That's fine.
Sure.
Get another basic out my deck
yeah.
and pass the turn back.
It does sort of make Field of Ruin slightly better.
Yeah, it's almost strip mine for multiple mana.
Yeah. It still can't target the basics, though.
No, you will
which
always
is
have your basics.
absolutely fine.
I think that's all the basics out of John's
I
deck
think
now.
so as well, yeah.
But also, if you're playing Sean, you're probably more incentivized to hold your Field of Ruin until he does make like an Azcanta.
Yep. Yeah, because he's never really going to go for the Colonnade, is he?
Land for the draw, land drop for the turn. Also, you're up against blue-white.
Is
You
that
can make it untapped.
I see, yeah.
You can
Yeah,
also shock that
yeah.
in for more mana because you are playing against blue-white.
Yep.
Which isn't renowned for its power. It's punishment of you.
If it had
you going
Mentor
between-
itself,
yeah.
right, then maybe.
Yeah, maybe. It's a good hand.
Against the... you see how it crushes? I played against that, the Countess Company, and
I
it
lost
just
game 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah, got smashed in game 1.
Oh, really? Oh. Did you get comboed?
No, I just
Oh, no.
died to him having 2 Voice Resurgence.
Ah,
Game 2, we Inquisition did away.
yes.
To be fair, game 2, his hand was like 4 lands, Dork, Path to Exile, Collector Company. It's like, I'll Inquisition away your Dork, please.
Yeah.
And then I'll just get rid of your...
An abundance of
I
whatever
had a
comes
Thought
down.
Seize in hand as well, so I'm just like, I'll get rid of your other card at some point. So this, again, is going to be a problem for John. Can he deal with those Canton Sunken Ruin? Burying him in advantage every turn.
Yeah. And getting relevant cards out of the top 5 or so.
Well, we've not hit so far. No, we are going to hit. Even that's fine. It's just more.
But it's the stuff that it puts to the bottom, right? You
Yeah.
can just shift what you don't need right to the bottom.
Just do a Snapcaster Mage.
Seems good.
Pretty much perfect. Serum Visions.
He's kind of keeping his cards off camera. It's hard
It'd
to
be
see
interesting.
what he
I
draws.
am going to ask John what he sideboarded in this match.
Yeah. If he's full on mentors, then this would be a good stage.
He doesn't. He has one mentor in the sideboard.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he should have brought in like wear tear, detention seer, etc., etc.
Click.
Click here's pretty good.
Oh, love me some
Show you my
Vendilion
hand
clicks.
of pretty powerful cards. Oh no, we're going to see a Cryptic Command.
No, that's fine. I think that's exactly really
I think it's pretty
the
good.
stage
if
where
you
you're at. Yeah. Counter, and I'd probably bounce the Field of Ruin. Or does he use it already? Oh, he's used it.
I like Snap Remanding this. Or Snap Logic Knot.
Reminding the negate.
I think you have to counter this negate. If you fought over the Vendilion Click itself,
Oh, he's
you-
got Logic Knot. Yeah, sure.
You Logic
just-
Knot for 2. Or you can pay. You can do it
You can
with
pay
mana.
some mana as well, right?
You can just do it with mana. You
Yep.
just tap all your mana. But you're not getting anything by doing
You can
this.
get rid of one of the colonnades. It makes no difference.
Yeah, maybe. Draw.
Because now you can snap to it as
Yeah.
well. And you've got 2 fetches as well.
That was also in your end step.
Yeah.
Cryptic Command the draw for the turn. Active as Cantor still in play.
Well, yep.
Pass the turn back.
See? Not a problem.
Now the card advantage engine begins. Obviously, getting more mana for Sean's still a thing.
Oh, yeah, right, because it's still a bit restrictive. You can't end the game right now, as I speak. What would you change now in the deck that you played?
Sorry?
In the deck?
Most of it.
Oh,
I wanted Blood Moons.
you want to Blood Moons? Yeah.
I wanted to moon
You
my
won
opponent.
both, though. You won both
I
of
know
those
I did.
games.
I mean, the humans felt very lucky. The other one felt
Oh, really?
very lucky as well.
Right.
I didn't feel like I played especially well.
Oh, okay. That might be...
It's not. I don't really know.
It's weird, right? Because this colour combination, it kind of plays with everything. It feels like you're playing with absolutely every possible card in existence. But turn 1 Delver is just so good right now. Even in this format, which you'd think is not so good. You come up against those creature matchups. So, like, you play turn 1 Delver and you're against an abundance of the humans and, say, the Collected Company decks. You just ride it to victory.
Yeah.
So good.
Definitely.
Especially you have a couple of removal spells, a couple of counter spells, and you're just set. You win every single game. Unless they play Reflector Mage. But that's the one you want to counter. Just going to pass the turn off here. So Sean's down to 11, John is at 13, and Ethan's walking around with a drink in his hand. He's about to spark it up.
I just think that Azcanthus just kind of bury John now.
It kind of is, but there still needs something to happen from the blue-white control side. It's missing the land drops. That's the issue. Missing some land drops because the search is just filtering them away.
Yep.
There might be a stage where he's got a Jason hand, but you've only got enough for like one little counter spell. If you play Jace, that is. Play Jace and you keep up one counter spell, whereas... But he's going to try it. There we go. Joom. Jace the Wallet Sculptor.
You have to fight this one.
No, it has to go. Snapcaster Mage. What you doing? I guess he's got Snap Negate.
I'd be interested in Snap Negate. Keep your mana open.
This is from Sean's side. He's going to go for Logic Knot, I think. Target Logic Knot. You can cast this, but you need to do it, and it needs to be for 5, so that's getting cast. So it's 1, 2, 3.
I would have Snap Cryptics if you're going to do something like this. It depends if you have another counter spell in hand.
4. So this is for 4. It's a 4. So we take Calvin. I think this is only for 4, which seems a bit odd. Okay. Oh, so he's going to snap negate this. Okay, must have been for 5 then. So snap negate happens. Chase resolves and fate sells.
Yeah, secure the waste
Secure.
here.
Ah, well, there you go.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It puts Jace to 1, which is relevant.
Yes, it is relevant. Oh, so yeah, it was for 5. Say because he has 10 mana, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think you path away the Snapcaster and kill the Jace.
Yeah.
Again, small problem.
Yep.
Search for Azcanta.
Yep.
Yes, you kill the Jace here, which is great.
So
you can send 1 upstairs.
Yeah, 1 up.
Sean
1
goes
up.
down to 10.
1 out. It did something though.
Yeah, John has 1 card in hand,
Yeah.
and that's a Dragon Lord Ojutai.
Hmm.
Seems like a pretty good time to draw that card.
Yeah, because I don't think John's got many cards in hand,
Or the
if any.
Supreme Verdict. Jeez, really?
That would definitely
That's
happen.
still in the deck? That's rough.
I think you keep 1,
Yeah, that's really rough for John.
just for a coverall, right? So.
Yep.
But you're at the stage though where you're.
I think John's hand is also pretty much air right now. And Search
Yeah,
for
and there's
Azcanthus.
no colonnades, there's nothing like that, or.
And
Oh,
there's
well.
a negate and a Jace. Hello,
And
Jace.
Searing Visions.
Yeah, I don't mind the
Negates is
negate. You've
good.
got Dragon Lord Ojutai now in hand.
How many negates is he running?
Probably 4.
Yeah, I guess so.
But
right?
I imagine the number is 4
Yeah,
and
do you know
Sphinx's
just what you saw?
Revelation.
Yeah, okay. Hashtag.
Revelated. Resolves. I think John's
Ugh.
hand is. I think John's hand is spell
Air?
snare, flooded strand. And that was a path to exile.
Well, that's now something, but he knows about the negate.
Yeah, well, you got to do it.
Yep.
Yeah, this spell snare is going to be good here though.
Yep.
And then the cryptic will get the rest of it.
Yep.
I think you fight here with cryptic as well.
You've got to protect your threat.
This is winning you the game. You didn't take the Jace for a reason.
Yeah.
I think
Counter
if
draw.
I think if you're John, it's just like, oh, goodbye.
Yep.
Goodbye, dear world.
Oh.
Goodbye, sweet, sweet world.
And the anticipate just to get you another so far forwards. You didn't. Oh, okay. Didn't anticipate into the. Oh, because it's a spell, isn't it? From anticipate.
No, it's anything.
Anything.
Yep.
And didn't decide to go for the land. Okay. Well, sure.
I think he just values having spells in hand.
I think he has an abundance of spells and so he went for the logic knot then, yeah.
It does look like John found Desolate Lighthouse by the looks of it.
Loot house. You're right, Bix. You having a good time? John's kind of in a tough spot here.
John's in a horrible spot right here.
He's digging the hole right now.
I know. I think his opponent's already dug his hole for him
Yeah, I think that, yeah.
to the sunken ruin.
You got a
of
Snapcaster mage?
To the sunken ruin of Azcanta.
I guess
this
snap
just gets,
path?
this just gets
Gets logic knotted, right? Yeah. Sean, you've got an abundance of mana. You could middle away your whole graveyard if needs be. Gets the basic.
yeah. I think just if this does get countered, then John's just probably not here to win this one.
No.
Yeah, looks like logic knot is the option. Going to count out the mana. 2, 4, 6.
If he has Spell Snare still,
It doesn't matter. It doesn't work that way. Converted mana cost to logic knot is whatever the X
it's
is.
2.
No, it's not. It's 2
Unless
plus
you pay
X.
3, the Delve is the sub part of it.
No, because it's X blue, so it increases
Yeah,
the
but
mana
the-
cost.
Yeah, but
It's
it's
like-
from the Delve though.
No, but it's
It's from the Delve, so it doesn't actually change the mana cost of the card. Yes, well, it doesn't matter anyway, so...
I'd have to check
yeah.
that one. Sure. I'd have to check that one. 'cause
Yep.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see. But we're going to see the concession there by John. Not quite able to do any damage against Azcanta the
Yeah.
Sunken Ruin, and well, that's the last match going. Turns out Azcanta the Sunken Ruin, quite a good
It
card.
is a good magic card, yeah.
It is a little
Who
good.
would have thought?
It is a little good.
It kind of got to that stage of just like, you had absolutely all of the good answers and like
You
abundance
had-
of negates, right?
You
is-
could have had half the good answers and half a hand of
Yeah.
air. You still have more than your opponent did. However,
Right.
that does bring us nicely to the end of our round 3 coverage.
Yep,
We
they've
will
got 7
soon-
minutes left on the round.
Yeah, we'll soon be very on to round number 4. We will look forward to you all joining us there. Thank you very much for watching.
Yep.
See you for round 4.
See you in round 4. Welcome back, guys. I hope you're doing really well. It's just me at the moment, so I'm Chris Wingrave. I should be doing your casting today. John's gone off to play the person on the bye. We've had a few people that have left early because they haven't done so well in the FNM or the WNM, the Wednesday night modern that we have here in Darksphere in London. Hopefully you're having a good time. We're going to go straight into the games. It is Jeskai Control against humans. We actually haven't had humans in this, like, in London at all, really. It just seems to be devoid of people that play the humans deck. So we're going to jump straight in. As they're shuffling up now, you've got John from the previous round. Sadly, we wanted to get humans on camera because we don't really get a chance to watch it that much, at least here in London. There's a very, very lack of humans players in this particular area, so it's good to see it. Someone's come down, and we'll see if it's actually going to be up against potentially one of its worst matchups in Jeskai Control. But you might actually see a decent game. Hopefully we will, and it won't just be Jeskai Control doing Jeskai Control-y things against the humans player. But it should be, at some point, relatively good to watch. So they're just going to roll now and see, taking their grips, see if there's anything good. So Bix Plays has just said, so as I was saying, I ended up putting some of the new Bring land into play ramp into Mind Control deck as I use a landfall from Royal Elemental. Oh, I see, Royal Elemental, yes, that's the gain control of X things, right? I remember Royal Elemental. Played against it on Saturday, actually. Someone's EDH deck had it. Seemed particularly fun. So let's see if we can get a chance of grip of John. I think I see a Helix and a Path in there, so that's good enough. But he's going to send it back. Oh. Ooh. I do like Royal Elemental. Mind Control on the landfall, it's pretty fun. Yeah, that's right, yeah. Royal Elemental is a great card. Once you get to that mana, anyway, because the mana cost of it is quite expensive, but for that effect, you'd want it to be. I think I managed to steal it with something as well. I think I had a black card that takes control if you... Oh no, I had Captivating Vampire because I was playing the Edgar Markov deck. And I had a Captivating Vampire and made lots of vampires and stole the Royal Elemental, which was good fun. Ended up stealing a lot more of that game as well. The abundance of vampires. Edgar Markov's pretty good card. Did enjoy playing that deck. Wasn't mine, I was borrowing it from a friend. So we're round 4. This is going to be the last round, sadly. So we'll make it a good one for you guys. John's going to have to play my bug deck against the Defender deck. So there's lots of walls, overgrown battlements, and Axebane Guardians, and Assault Formation. Pretty good. Are you running clones in the deck? Nice. Gotta love clones. Clone card's pretty strong. You got loads of clone cards now in the modern. You got Phyrexian Metamorph, the Phantasmal Image, just the generic clone. It's quite a lot of fun cards to play with if you go and play Commander. So the grip's now slightly skewed. I can't get a good look at either of them, sadly. Yep. But I will announce to them that they're going to start, so, and let me just mute it temporarily. Nick, they can start. Excellent, so they're going to fire off. It is a Celestial Colonnade for John and passing the turn over. Sakashima, yeah, the Imposter, yes, I do remember that card. Ooh, the Glare, so that's an Aether Vial off of a Sequim Coast. The camera will slowly adjust, so just bear with it for the time being. just needs to readjust to the glare. It needs to get used to the shirt. So Vile takes up to 1. I guess if he's got... So that's the... Choose a creature type. He's going to choose humans. And play that, which gets immediately spell snare. There we go. So camera's readjusting for us as well again, thankfully. And fetching up the basic. Just got to get the spell snare out of the grip because it's not going to be relevant whatsoever with the Aether Vial in play. So John's probably kidding himself that he didn't keep his original 7. It's technically down a card. Or 2 cards actually, because they get to draw. See if that would be a big input here or not. It might be. So draw for the turn. Is a land, that's good. It's a colonnade as well. So just going to pass off. John's at 19 still. Relatively healthy on both sides. Vile ticks up to 2. See what the play is for the turn. Might be nothing, yeah. Just going to straight off pass. No need to do anything more. Hopefully there's land drop, but there's not for John. Rough. Activate the Aether Vial on 2. Plays the Kitesail Freebooter, which I imagine is getting lightning bolted. It is. Does get to see the hand though, which reveals... Is that a rune snag? Okay, it's the Cryptic. 4, sure. So Path to Exile, a Logic Knot, and Jace the Wallet Sculptor. So Bix Plays has said, I decided to get into Magic Online at the end of the month as it's the easiest way to do events for you. Well, that's good. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad that you got into Magic Online. I've recently just sold out, but that's my sort of particular financial situation at the moment, so had to sell out of it, get a bit of money to play some more Magic in paper. But it's certainly easy to get into, which is great. And it's cheaper as well than generic paper decks, most of the time. There is some corner cases where it's not, but yes. It's strange, you didn't fire off the Logic Knot. Okay. I think I might have done that because you're not going to have many more targets for the Logic Knot there, but well, we shall see if that has been a issue or not. He's just going to pass straight back. So John might be taking at least 1 point of damage here. I think you activate this Aether Vial, right? You've got to. Guess not. And there you go. Wow. And there was a Mirran Crusader in hand as well. So he plays a land for the turn. That's surprising. Can it be a very, very nice land to have? You can't play slow against the Jeskai control decks. So they just accrue so much value. And he knows he's got a chance of being particularly rocked here. So he's going to just take the 1. So John goes down to 18 and passes the turn. Yes, it's really easy to do, isn't it, Bix? It's particularly strong. You see, you've just... So now the Humans player is getting really punished because John doesn't have enough mana to deal with multiple threats, so he should be playing multiple threats. I don't like here sort of cracking off the canopy, but you've got to just put something down. If anything, it grows the Champion of the Parish, so he does. Yeah, good. Untap. So the Mirran Crusader is into the battlefield at the moment. To land for the turn. Okay, so he wasn't unpunished. So he can get a really huge board state right here. If he decides to. I think I want to vial one of these in and play one of them. One of them's going to get countered, but at this stage, you've just got to play it. You've just got to play it. I don't think there's any stage here where you don't just slam both of these down. You play one of them, you got to play something, come on. Otherwise, eventually John's going to draw some lands and actually do a bit more than just nothing straight away. So he's just going to go for the combat. He's going to path there, sure. Path the Mirran Crusader. Chris gets to search up his one basic, which should be a Plains, I imagine. They normally only have one Plains in their main deck. It's who's the top card. That's great, so he gets a good old reshuffle. It's good for Chris. Gets the extra land out of his deck. More life for drawing some relevant spells. Yeah, there's a few people that I think recently have sold their collections just because they wanted to go and play the arena instead online. It was a bit more fun. So there's a bolt coming down for John, so that must have been in the draw for the turn. I think he would have done that before otherwise. Seems good. So he has vialed in the Mantis Rider at the end of turn here, Chris has. And it's going to be a cast of something. 2 mana, 3 mana, so it's going to be a Phantasmal Image. Which is very easily going to get Logic Knotted. But it has to be done. But he's got two Phantasmal Images, so... But it's not doing anything else at the moment, so you may as well just try and get some points of damage down. I think you can safely get rid of something here. You can't snap and do... Oh, okay. So this is the path. Okay, sure. Very good play here from... Aha. Good to get rid of it, so it's forced another action. So it copies now, the Phantasmal Image can copy the... Oh, and there's the second one. Rough. So that's 9 points of damage. Wow. Whew. I think that's why you probably want to counter the first one, but it is quite tough to deal with. It's 9 points of damage is rather extreme. So John is now down to 7, sorry, unless it's caught up. It's 7, okay. He does find the 4th land, but is there a Supreme Verdict in the main? Is it that card that's hiding underneath next to the Logic Knot? Not sure, otherwise John's going to be straight dead. Could be Snapcaster Mage, I guess. Yeah, having a physical collection is pretty good, Bix. I have a lot of the generic shard decks, so or just the staples to play all of the shards, more or less. Don't have a lot of the Mardu stuff in particular. That's the one thing that I don't tend to play is Mardu, but I've got the sort of bits around it anyway. I could probably put together a Mardu list at some stage. Yeah, if you can't use it, then you can't use it. That's fair to say that. Yeah, that's right. Going online is where I think a lot of people are at the moment. They like to do it. You get to play more Magic. You don't have the trouble of getting to said events or local shops, or even if there's no local shop, getting to events can be really difficult and expensive. So I can appreciate people going online as an option. So he's going to just fire off the Cryptic Command. It's the tap. Didn't do tap bounce because that doesn't help you. So we have a Meddling Mage. That's right. As long as you have like one deck in paper, then at least you can go to events when you need to. So the draw for the turn. Can't quite see it, unfortunately, John. I don't know exactly what he's naming either. Maybe we can find out. Sadly, I can't find out without leaving the booth, so I'm just going to leave it for now and see if it becomes relevant later on. John did draw another land. Excuse me. But John being at 6, he needs to have another Cryptic Command, I think. But I think that's probably the only out. Helix, I guess. Helix means that you go and live at 1 life. unless there's any form of anthem-style effect from Chris. I don't think there is. Nope, it's just going to go for it there. So that means Humans is up a game. Wow. Normally it's a bad match for them. Ah, I see. It's 30 minutes away, is it? Right. Yeah, that makes it a tough time to get back. No, I can appreciate that. I actually don't live in London, which is where this shop is based. It takes me about 30 minutes on the train to get to and from, if it's a fast train. If not, it takes me about an hour to get back, and is relatively expensive. I don't know if you're from the UK or if you're familiar with the UK prices for travel, but they're not the most of happiest of places, which is a real shame. So I would like it if they were a bit cheaper, but they're not. So you have to live with it. Humans get one game up though over the Jeskai Control from John Hill. Won't see that every day there. Normally it's a very, very bad matchup for the Humans players, but it seemed to have inched their way forward. Having the triple, or the two the two Phantasmal images really did help there, because John didn't have anything to really beat up on it. Oh, the buses don't go late, do they? I see, and there's no train. Right. Yeah, I'm lucky that I'm fortunate that I'm on the main train line down from London to Portsmouth, so I can pretty much get that on the way back. Oh, are you from Canada? I see. Right. Yeah. The UK's got a very good network for public transport, and it runs particularly late. Like, for instance, if I decide to leave, it's now 20 past 10 here. I've got trains all the way up till 9 past 12 at night, so in the morning, it's when it's past midnight. 10 past midnight is my last train, if it goes that late. So it's fortunate, and I appreciate the fact that I live in a country that is able to benefit, shall we say. I'm able to benefit from their public transport system, but we pay for it. We definitely pay for it. The train ticket to get here and back was about £12.50, so I guess in generic dollars, and I don't know what it's like with Canadian dollars, I'm not sure on the particular exchange rate, but it's probably about $20 roughly to US, give or take. It's about that. So for a return journey it's quite expensive, but I'm not even playing today. I'm just here having some fun doing the commentary. Oh, you live in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, no, that's fair. I can appreciate that. I used to live in the middle of nowhere and been unable to play Magic. That was nightmarish. It's actually when I lived in Germany. I lived in the south of Germany in 2016? No, it was 2015. Yeah, the end of 2015, beginning of 2016, I lived in Germany in the south. And it was relatively close to Munich. And the closest, well, it was fairly close to Munich, which is in the south. But the nearest one was in a town called Rosenheim. And yeah, getting to there was just slightly difficult because I was in the middle of nowhere. And it would have been really expensive. So just turning up for an FNM costing me sort of about €50 or something just didn't seem that appealing. Aha, now I can see abundance of bolts. So this might go towards John. But no, he's going to send it back. That seems a bit risque. Maybe he didn't have the relevant mana for it. It might have just been an island and a colonnade. So that could have been why. We'll have to see. Yeah, I can appreciate not having a chance to do Magic. So Magic Online gives you the option, doesn't it? And options are great, especially when it's you making the decisions, not the opponents. Which has reminded me, I need to pick up some Whispers of Emrakul. I don't know if anybody knows that card. It's basically the Hymn to Toruk in Modern, but only if you have Delirium, otherwise it's just one card at random. Been trying to brew my Bug Delver deck. It's been doing really well. I've beat up on humans earlier, and I beat up on collected company decks, so seems good. If we can beat those 2 creature decks, then it can definitely beat the control matchups as well. Devra Secrets is pretty good at the moment, for some reason, in a bug deck. Who knows? Maybe it's not good and I just got a bit lucky. So is it Uncontested War Zone, I think, right? Or what's it called? Well, yeah. Aether Vial off of their multi-land. Passing back to John, so John's got his Colonnade untapped now. And he's going to start off with the Serum Visions. Oh, okay, no, yeah, it's going to resolve. The Scry too. I see was that a Search for Escanter? And didn't get a good look. So he's got at least 1 bolt, so both going to the top. I think there's a bolt on top. So he's going to play the fetch land. See, this is the annoying thing, so maybe he just doesn't mind and puts it back. Promenade or Promenade? Promenade. I would say Promenade, probably. On the Promenade? Promenade? Interesting. But then English is so diverse. It really is. So he's going to cast the... Ooh, nice. Having the trigger on the stack so they get a counter on each. Nice. So the Thalia's Lieutenant gets cast, enters, trigger goes on the stack. With the trigger on the stack, he's going to violin the Noble Hierarch, so it gets the counter as well. And you get to trigger on the Thalia's Lieutenant to get the counter. Nice little sequencing there by Chris Vincent. So he obviously knows the insides and outs of this deck, which is good. Yeah, Celestial Colonnade, I think, is definitely how I would pronounce it. Not Colonnade. Slightly different spelling, though. Ooh, there is the one of. Yeah. So I see a Dark Confident. Confidente Oscuro. But he's going to play the Sin Collector because that is a glorious magic card, which is target player reveals their hand. You get to exile an instant or sorcery card that's in the hand. So if you have the Bolt, you probably just want to fire it off now, and I imagine on something that grows. So possibly against the... Has he got Helix in hand? I guess if you've got Helix, that's good as well. If you've got Helix, if you've got Bolt and Helix, then you can really go to town. Or if you have both, you may as well just let one eat it, right? He doesn't know what's coming off of the Aether Vial yet either. But there's not anything super relevant, unless there's another Thalia's Lieutenant. Then that would mean the Thalia's Lieutenant doesn't die because he gets both of the triggers. Interesting. So I might just let this fire off once he's searched for his relevant cards. So he's going to double shock and fetch. So he's down to 14. John's at 14 right now, which is particularly... Don't worry about your atrocious spelling. Not to worry. Oh, so he's got Path, and he's got Bolt, and he's got Helix. Fair enough. Right. So he's doing that in response to the trigger, which is the correct way to do it. So he's going to Lightning Bolt the Thalia's Lieutenant. That's good. So Thalia's Lieutenant's died. It goes to the graveyard, and I guess he's going to Helix something. You could leave that up, but he's going to Helix the Noble Hierarch. Sure. Gain some life. So his fetching wasn't super painful. And then I imagine the Path is going to disappear. Oh, he's got a Secure the Waste. Nice. So the interesting thing about Sin Collector is it can only target instant or sorcery cards. So it can choose the Secure the Waste, but I imagine it's going to choose the Path. Secure the Waste can be managed. They're only 1/1s. So we've got about 30 minutes left on the round, which is quite a lot of time. We did start relatively late, sadly. He's just going to pass it back, so he doesn't fancy... Did we see what he went? So he did choose the Path, okay. So he's going to violin the Dark Confident. Sure. Don't know what the draw was for John. Mick! Ah, so he's going to just fire off and bolt the Dark Confidant, yeah. Seems good. But now, this is where you get your Mantis Riders out. I think he's got 2 copies of Mantis Rider in hand, right? Oh, so 3 copies of Mantis Rider. Ho, ho, ho. Sorcery is a super type, so there is 8 super types. Is it super type or just generic type? There's 8 types of cards in Modern. That's not including like the planes card, the planes chase cards as well. So there is 8 super types. First one. I'll run through the list. You have instant sorcery, tribal, enchantment, artifact, land, creature, planeswalker. So double path. Oh, he's got path and bolt. Nice. So he's only really taking 3 here, which is very, very vital for this Jeskai control deck. Start hopefully turning the corner because he's run out of resources now from the human side. But there is still 1 remaining Mantis Rider. And John hasn't got any flyers, but a Snapcaster can certainly turn the tide of this game, which we might see. It's definitely possible. So he's going to play the Horizon Canopy. Take a life. So Chris Vincent goes down to 17. Sorcery speed. Well, when people call it sorcery speed, they're just referring to the fact that it's similar to a sorcery card, whereas you can't cast it in response to something being cast. So it's whenever you gain priority and there is nothing left to resolve. So when people say sorcery speed, they generically... it's not really confusing once you know the card and what they do. You really dislike humans, way too many human decks in Modern right now. But I can tell you, this is probably the only player that plays humans in London, because previous to this, we have had nobody playing humans, or maybe 1 person playing humans in the last 3-4 months. So come to London. Come down to the shop. We don't see that often. So he's going to crack the canopy. Gets the draw. Didn't get a good look at the draw. Looked like a creature, though. Oh, no, it's a land. Okay, I was wrong. Another one of their multi-lands. Attack for 5. So John goes down to 3. He's got to have something here. Has to be removal spell. No. Wow, there you go. 2-0 for humans. And what's thought to be a particularly bad matchup. Wow. There you have it. I'm going to take us back to the booth. If you have any questions, guys, feel free to shoot me those in the chat. So, we just saw humans absolutely crush there. That was interesting. Normally, the Jeskai control matchup has a really good matchup in that particular stage, and it's just dealing with their flyers, really. It's the Mantis Rider. That's what you want to deal with. So, G4 just said, I would like to... I will surely make a visit when I come to the UK next time. Here in the southern Germany, humans is like Grixis Delver Modern. Yeah, I see. There's lots of there in the south of Germany. Right. So I did actually make a chance. I did get to Rosenheim a few times, and I played once, I think, in Munich when I was living there. And at the time, this was in end of 2015, beginning of 2016, so there was no humans deck then. There was an abundance of Jund, from what I remember, some control decks. It was mostly mid-range, and Tron. Lots of Tron, but then there's lots of Tron everywhere. Although not so much anymore, because of Damping Sphere, which we can all praise, because Tron... I don't like watching it. It's very boring. It's for me to watch it anyway. And I'm of the opinion of it's not really a hard deck to play. It's very, very clear with what you do. You make your 3 lands, then you drop something fat, so it's not really that difficult, in my opinion anyway. When you get to the top tables of a GP, of course, it's a lot harder to do, but then you know, is getting to the top tables with playing Tron, which is relatively simple, I think, though, still, if you've got the skills. If you have any questions, guys, just go and speak to the guys over there, yeah? Cheers. But that's it for now. I'm afraid that was our last round of the match of the day. It is the end of our round 4. And I shall be ending the stream. Unfortunately, John has still yet to finish, but I will say my adieus. Thank you very much. Hope you've had a good time. Hope to catch you next Wednesday. I shall be back here. John shall be here, probably a bit more present than he has been today, but he's just been filling in for people that didn't actually show up. Okay. Hopefully you have a really good time. I'd like to see you again soon. Bye.